Shaw, you're on the air, sir. Welcome. I'm sorry to put you on hold during our dear leader, our dear Fuhrer speaking. Go ahead. Sounds like you're listening to the same thing I was. Thank you, Lester. Have a good day. Lewis in Oklahoma, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, great show, man. I'm glad you're covering the election.
Well, I'm kind of being lazy about it, though. We're only into 11, 12 hours.
Yeah, I know you're tired and everything. Hey, I got a couple points I want to make. I've been involved here in the politics in Oklahoma, and there's been a lot of people waking up. I mean, like at the state convention, about half of them was Ron Paul folks. And I got a little strategy here on a local level. Now, some of you patriots out there, if you're in an Obamanoid state, you might want to move to a Romanoid state because, this could be one of the, I think they actually made a mistake installing Obama again because, now you have the Romneyoids can join with the Liberty people that are really awake. And when the federal government totally overplays its hand to where these legislators in your state government, the ones that are being paid off by like the Chamber of Commerce and, a couple global bankers you might have hanging around your state, when they realize that their way of life is being threatened, all of a sudden what's going to happen is going to be a big mass flop over to the Liberty side. And, these guys that have been dishonest and, they get these, three-figure jobs, from the chamber and different banks and, revolving door type stuff we have here locally. They're going to realize it doesn't matter how much money they have or what they're doing, that their whole doggone country is getting sucked down the tubes.
Well, that's right. That's right. And collectivism doesn't work. I don't care what stuff we hear from people that want to manage things and to claim they can make everything better that way. But we don't even have a government at this point to protect us from the ravaging activities of the foreign pirates as well. So we're just in a lot of trouble. But great points. Good to hear from you, Lewis in Oklahoma. Nick in California, and then Noel, and I'm out of here. Go ahead. We're got a roundtable coming up, though. Go ahead. I'm going to get 5 greedy hours of sleep. Nick in California, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Alex. I got a comment and then a question. It looks over now, but I wanted to respond to your question you asked the caller earlier about, in your gut, who do you think is more dangerous, in Obama or Romney? In my gut, I kind of felt like Romney would be worse, but in my mind, I think, the establishment's choice was Obama, which means he's got to be the worst one.
Yeah, but it's like being at the edge of a cliff, and one thing's 400 feet, the other's a 500-foot drop. You don't want to jump off either side of it. And, that's why I was getting mad at Tarpley. I mean, I don't like Romney. Everybody knows that. And it was like, why don't we talk about Romney and how he's bad? Romney lost, man. I'm looking at Obama, and, I'm sorry. I just don't believe in big government. And it doesn't matter. It's all going to collapse anyways. Everybody's going to get what they want, so...
But I wanted to bring up something I called in about before, and that's about organized stalking, gang stalking, because I talked with other targeted individuals, and we were all universally sort of disappointed in your response, basically saying that it's mostly schizophrenia. But I've never heard it mentioned on your show before, and then a month later or so you mentioned it, gang stalking, in your Sean Stone interview. And we just wish you would give it some coverage because it is real. It is going on all over the world.
Sir, I know there's all sorts of government and other corporate manipulations and gang-type stuff. I'm just saying some of it is like crazy people because I've seen it on YouTube. It's sadly entertaining. People thinking the cable repairman outside is coming to get them. But in this crazy world, who knows what's true? But I hear you. I appreciate your call. Noel in Virginia, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I'm laughing because you got me on stitches. First of all, I want to tell you, for you and your staff, you did an excellent job. I really enjoyed this election. Okay, I enjoyed it because it was so much information you were giving me while CNN, I had it on mute, was just the same old thing. It's sad tonight for the American people because I saw the interviews. American people don't even know what's going on in this world with their own country. It's a shame that we've been so blind to the truth. I've been studying a little law like UCC 1308 and the Black Law Book and the Barron's Banking. I'm starting to get to know that I have rights and I have to exercise it. Nobody else is going to do it. I have to stand up for what I believe. You know what I mean, Alex? And
yes, sir. Exactly. There's these multinationals who know what's going on. They're robbing us, and we're individuals that have to stand up and exercise them. It doesn't mean we can't band together, but you're absolutely right. There's a whole world out there, and trying to work within this corrupt system, that's one thing we can do, but we've got to work also without it, because the system, it's like I work in the matrix, but I'm without it. Yeah, I'm in it, but I'm also outside of it. And that's what's so sad, because no matter, sure, you could have some system that tried to help people, but when the system is eugenics-based, you know, like when I said to Tarpley, I said, well, this is eugenics-based. We can't trust government health care when it's run by a bunch of, you know, people that created the Nazis. And he's like, well, but what about Romney? And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not talking about Obama or Romney. They're just front men. We've got to talk about the larger system of who controls this. And I'm not trying to bash Tarpley. It's just that, you know, when I knew him like 10 years ago, he was even more anti-New World Order. Now, I guess he sees things coming down to the wire. He thinks the government is going to fix things. And maybe it could if good people were in there. The problem is it's so full of bad people. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the only way I feel, and I think this is how you feel, I think we have to go back to the forefathers in 1776. I think the American people should wake up and take back our sovereign. I mean, people don't know the history of this country. They just took time to research. If you see 1860, it was a bunch of men that made this corporation called the United States of America. And we have a dual citizenship. One is called America, and the other one is the United States Corporation. And people just wake up and see that this is a corporation and not a country, that we are buying to contracts that we don't even know what we're signing today.
No, you're exactly right.
We're giving our sovereign away. We're giving our rights without them even pulling a gun yet. So imagine when they come down my block with a gun to say, get out of my house. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, look at these people waving the flags and all this, and don't even know that that's a CEO guy that you just voted in to continue the program.
Exactly, and I mean, both guys are bad, and then it's like, well, you got to choose a side or you're bad. No, I mean, if they're both controlled, then it's all bad. Listen, great point, great way to end my part of the transmission. I'm going to hand it over to Sha'Carri Jackson and Melissa Melton and the rest of the crew that's in there. Just a great job to the entire crew here tonight with the coverage. I'm going to go home and get a few hours sleep so I can come back tomorrow on the big radio show, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. But, you know, we know where all this is leading, and it's not leading to a nice place. And, you know, people I see them on the Twitters and the Facebook, you lost, Alex. No, I didn't. I was not supporting Romney. I just hope that, as dumb as the public is, they would vote in somebody else as some desperate reset button. You know, when your computer won't work and you're just banging it. But, I mean, the fact that they're endorsing what they know Obama is the front man for, I was going to go after Romney day one when he got elected. And I've been going after him. But now Obama doesn't face re-election. I was already planning in 4 years to go after, you know, Romney so he wouldn't get reelected, because, I knew what he was going to do. And it's just, I see all these people associating their personal power with the New World Order, and it's hollow, it's empty. Aaron Dykes, before we go to Sha'Carri Jackson and crew in a roundtable discussion for 30 minutes, any other points? Because I know you're out there with a large stack of stuff. I mean, you heard the Tarpley interview. God bless him. Left in the hood, up to no good. But is it just me, or I guess Tarpley's just desperate because he thinks things are shutting down, and he thinks we can, like, fix things through the government. But the continued attacks on Ron Paul, because Ron Paul legitimately thinks government's not the answer. Let people keep their own money. It's not starve everybody. Let the states take care of people. I mean, look at the federal government in Katrina and New York and New Jersey. They can't take care of people. I mean, this is an evil government. I mean, sure, some people have been deindustrialized, shut down by the globalists, so they need food stamps, they need welfare. We're not even talking about that. But if we can't ever get rid of the globalists, how do we restore anything?
Well, I think Tarpley's focusing on the economy. He thinks that's the big apple. He sees centralization as a foregone conclusion. Personally, I'm looking towards anything that can decentralize a little bit, a lot, anything towards the states, individuals, and that's something I want to bring up in the roundtable or whatever it is we're calling this next segment. Michael Bolden at the 10th Amendment Center, they published 10 big votes on nullification this week. 6 out of 10 passed, and so a lot of them were marijuana issues. That's at least challenging some.
Left in the hood, up to no good.
A lot of states said no to Obamacare. Of course, Obama will be in another 4 years. That might be an interesting fight, but at least some states are trying to say
no. Things are going in a great move. Tarpley was announcing the state has come, the state has won. You're a racist if you don't accept it. I mean, as if some Valhalla is going to be delivered by a new American Soviet. Hey, I tell you what, are you going to be on the roundtable on that side?
I think they're saying on this
side. Yeah. You get right over here. We'll keep you on this side, and they can all be over there in that area. That way we've got plenty of seats here. And I'm going to punch out at this time because I've been on the air, I don't know, like 11 hours. What is like 5:30 roughly when I got on till 1 in the morning? What is the number?
Oh, you're looking at 7.5 hours.
That's 7.5, and then I had the 3 on the radio, so that's...
You've done well today, Alex.
I have done well. But I didn't build it. What was that, Dan? Yeah. I'm going to throw it to Jakari Jackson, the roundtable in there, and Aaron will come sit right here in the evil Koch brother nest, and we will continue our transmission here while savoring. I don't feel good because of anything I've built or thing I've done in my life. I'm feeling good because Obama got elected right now, and I'm going to go watch him, and I'm going to feel good, Aaron, right now about my accomplishments in life.
This country's in a lot of trouble. I mean, maybe it is a little bit better because many people already understand how bad Obama is. I mean, Romney...
Well, I'm having a deja vu, like we had this before.
Did we?
Listen, no. Oh, my God, I had a nightmare about it. Let's go ahead. I've been a nightmare. It's like different nightmares. It's kind of like those...
where we were talking.
It's like those storybooks where, like, it has different endings, but they're all the nightmares. Like, there's the Romney ending, there's the Obama ending, and...
Yeah, it wasn't going to end good tonight. I mean, we all knew that.
Yeah, but the fact that it's probably all fraud anyways. Probably both of them probably didn't even... here's Jakari Jackson. Jakari, what can you tell us about the supreme victory of our great dear leader, Kim Jong-il IV?
You summed it up better than I could. We actually had a few articles that don't actually tie into the presidential election. If Marcos, if you can pull those up for us right now. We took a look at some of the marijuana findings, and we see Amendment 64 passes in Colorado, and they legalize marijuana for recreational use. So there you go, Colorado. And also, this is Obama wins second term. Voters approve Washington State, and we got I-502 to legalize marijuana, and that's the Seattle Times. And I believe we also had another article from Oregon. So if we can take a look at that. Okay, but anyway, my understanding, here we go. Okay, Oregon stays put on pot, while other states may take historic changes. So Oregon not set to, change their views on pot, but hey, if you like your pot, you can go to Colorado and Washington. Not that I'm advocating that kind of deal. And let's see, Massachusetts voters approve, medicinal marijuana. So there you go. Now we're going to give the guys in the other studio a chance to get set. They'll be joining us here in a few minutes. Aaron Dykes, David Ortiz. I have Melissa Melton here with me. So we'll go to a short break and be back with the other guys for our roundtable discussion.
I'm President Barack Barry Obama, and you're watching continual coverage of the 2012 presidential election here on Infowars.com.
Which camera do I look at? This one?
As we saw in Katrina, and as we are watching now in New York and New Jersey, the federal government can't and won't help you in a crisis. FEMA ran out of water and MREs in days. Electricity is still off to over 1 million people. The Red Cross, who is quick to beg for money, is now slow to react. Don't put it off any longer. Get prepared today. The Infowars shop is the largest distributor of ProPure water filter systems. And now, get 15% off your ProPure order with the promo code WATER15. While you're on InfoWarsShop.com, check out these other great preparedness items. The Aquapod kit lets you store up to 65 gallons of water in your bathtub. The Pocket Socket provides you with manual electricity for small electronics like your cell phone. The Life Straw is great for your bug-out bag. And check out our complete line of Interfood products for great tasting and nutritionally dense foods that have a great shelf life. If you are looking to secure your home in a crisis, you can order Strategic Relocations, the film, a great companion to the book Strategic Relocations 3rd edition, and The Secure Home by Joel Skousen. When the time to perform arrives, the time to prepare has already passed. Get prepared now, so if a crisis strikes your home, you and your family will be secure. Go to InfoWarsShop.com and don't forget the promo code WATER15.
All right, and welcome back to our election coverage. As you know by now, Barack Obama has been elected president for his second term. So get ready for 4 more years of NDAA and Patriot Act and drones. And if you get hit by a drone, Obama said, if you happen to be in the area, you're an enemy combatant if you're a male of military age. But anyway, aside from all that, I'm going to go now to Miss Melissa Melton. How are you doing tonight, Melissa?
I'm doing okay. I think Alex summed it up really well when he said it's like the choose your own adventure books except a nightmare. It's like choose your own nightmare.
Right.
Yeah. So just flip through the pages, pick one. It's all the same.
Now, hearing about the election, did you have any idea which way it was going to go? Was it going to go Obama? Was it going to go third party? Was it going to go Mitt Romney? What were your thoughts before this night?
I don't know. I kept going back and forth. I think towards the end, I really thought it was probably going to be Obama just because, I mean, even just a couple of days ago, we saw on Twitter, people were hashtagging Hail Obama. Hail Obama was trending. So that's not even just I think Obama's awesome. That's I hail him. I'm going to get down on my knees and worship him. He is my king. I mean, that was trending on Twitter. So, but people that I talked to even tonight, it's like they feel like they know him personally. He's right. My president. I know him. He's mine. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, just like we saw the people just there it is right there live.
He's mine.
These people out, what is that, Chicago where he's at? People out there standing outside. I'm sure it's not the warmest place to be, waving their flags. And I mean, hey, your guy won, so I mean, I can't say anything about it.
They do a lot of arm reps because those people have been waving flags for what, like a straight 3 hours or something, just waving.
About that.
My arm would get tired after about 5 minutes. I must not be very dedicated.
Well, if you're a Obama supporter, I guess that gives you extra strength. Whenever the guys are ready in the other studio, just let me know. But for right now, you have a few articles here. Melissa Melton, what do you have here?
Not really. I was just looking at some of the different ways that Obama and Romney were the same, and some of the things that are going to continue. I mean, we've got unmanned drone strikes. We've got secret kill lists that we know have American citizens on there that Obama has deigned himself the exalter of. Like, he's just going to control that. He gets to decide who lives and dies. No due process, no charge, no trial. The NDAA, where he can indefinitely detain citizens. I know he signed a little thing saying he's not going to do that, but I mean, he signs a lot of little things. It really doesn't.
He signs a lot of things. He says a lot of things. We saw the video of him earlier this morning saying that he doesn't lie.
He doesn't, but he cried. He had like that one tear. He had a tear. I don't lie.
I mean, my deal. I don't care if the guy cried or not. It's what he's saying.
He said, we have to finish what we started. It's like, no, it's what you started. It's been 4 years. You didn't finish. What did you finish? You finished expanding the Patriot Act. You finished signing NDAA so you can indefinitely detain us and completely throw the Constitution out the window. You finished signing like 1.5 billion executive orders.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Now, if we can scroll back up, if we can put that article back on the screen, guys, and scroll to the top for the headline. 17-year-old girl included on Obama's secret kill list. So for everybody says we make up this stuff, that there's no such thing as an Obama secret kill list, you can check that out. Just one of many articles. So definitely take a look at that. Are we ready in the other studio, guys?
From the New York Times.
We are here.
Okay, so we're going to throw it now to Aaron Dykes and David Ortiz in our radio studio, guys.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Jakari and Melissa. I think you really made a good point there. So many people identify with who becomes president throughout the 20th century. That's our guy, or it's not our guy. We've got to return to the Constitution, believe in ourselves. We were never supposed to, in this country, concentrate power in a dictator's hands, but that's what we've built over the years, allowing these agencies to build up, allowing ourselves to buy into somebody who doesn't even represent us, may or may not look like us, but really they're doing huge power grabs. Now, I'll go to David Ortiz in just a second. Mike Adams has obviously been up on his site at Natural News, and he's got a list of 10 dire consequences for Obama's reelection victory, but I guess the asterisk is most of these would apply to Romney as well had he won. Let me read these real quick. A huge expansion of TSA in the surveillance state. You know that's coming. They want to be in shopping malls, on bus terminals, other transportation. They're not going away from the airport at this point. Expansion of secret arrest of Americans. Y'all were touching on that with the NDAA. The acceleration of the national debt blowout and endless fiat creation currency. You've got Ben Bernanke printing tens of billions of dollars a month without any plans to stop. An expansion of GMOs and USDA collusion. They did not pass Prop 37 in California. Really bad news. Increasing dictatorial government health care control. Obamacare remains a big issue, of course. Immediate surge in the sale of guns and ammo. That's definitely something that has been centered around Obama. He's been called the best gun salesman in history. And, of course, an accelerated erosion of the Bill of Rights and civil liberties. Continued destruction and looting of the economy. Giant sucking sound of employers leaving America because they can't pay Obamacare for their employees, and more attacks on veterans and preppers. That's just the beginning. I'm sure we could easily come up with 100. What was your reaction tonight, David? What do you think are the most important issues? Overall, what did you see coming?
I was saddened, in all honesty. First off, I thought, I'm shocked that Mitt Romney didn't win. I mean, it really doesn't matter. It's just, you know, a different flavor of cyanide had Mitt Romney won. But I was really saddened because as I went through the Democratic headquarters over in Austin, people saying, oh, he sticks up for me. He sticks up for the little guy. He's going to take care of us. He takes care. Well, the reason why you need to be taken care of is because the state has bankrupted you so much, whether it be through the Federal Reserve, the inflation of money, but definitely the welfare state, socialism, the socialistic mindset. It's becoming part of our fabric, in my estimation, and I find that to be very, very sad. Americans now, they definitely want to be taken care of. And it's not because they're bad people. It's because, in my estimation, they've been brainwashed, and also they've been financially raped. So now they need the government's assistance.
It's just crazy how much power they have centralized. Now, I'm going to go back to Jakari and Melissa and let them add their points. But I do want to get into, in just a moment, 10 states who voted on nullification measures this week. It was a big article from the 10th Amendment Center. Of course, it didn't get a lot of play in the media because everyone's been so caught up in Obama versus Romney. But several states voting on whether or not to reject Obamacare and pass their own state limitations on the implementation of health insurance, and a number of states with issues related to marijuana, legalizing it. It passed in both Washington State and Colorado, and other states allowing for medical use. Potentially a big blow against the drug war, which has just sucked billions and billions and really is leading towards a true warfare state with Mexico, the drug gangs. Fast and Furious plays into that. There's a lot of issues going on, and unfortunately, Obama has gotten that mandate to move forward with all the power grabs he's already started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Obama will absolutely imprison you for smoking marijuana, despite the fact that he's done it himself. But it's good to see that the dominoes are slowly falling. That's probably, for liberty lovers, the only moral victory I think we've gotten tonight was those marijuana referendums in Oregon and in Washington. It's good to see. I think that the marijuana war, it will soon officially be lost within 10 years.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a turning point. What did y'all think on the other side over there in the other studio?
Well, you know, Aaron, it's definitely something that some people in our office are very happy about. The the use of marijuana, not just for medicinal purposes, but for recreational use. And I mean, you know, I'm not a drug advocate. I've said that on this show many times. I am I guess a freedom advocate. I mean, if that's what you choose to do, I mean, that's your choice. Just like I choose to be a gun owner, that's my thing. If you choose to smoke marijuana, that's your thing.
Jakari, man, it's not about sitting at home and smoking. It's about the way they've built up the drug war into this huge institution, empowered these very evil drug gangs. They've killed like what 30,000 people a year in Mexico over this drug war issue. We've given the federal government all this power to crack down. And we really need to take that power back and say, no, individuals need to decide what they're going to do if you're not harming someone.
Complex.
Yeah, Aaron, just like you said, I mean, it's this whole war on drugs, which I'm definitely against. It's been a huge failure. We see
the
just
prison
like you said,
population exploding.
Yeah, not to mention the large body count and all the money that goes to the black market of these drugs. So I definitely recognize those as being issues.
Yeah, I hope that the yuppies and the poverty pimps can finally be quiet already with, you know, America being this racist nation. The poverty pimps and the yuppies were constantly telling us Americans would never vote for a black president. They did. Then they said, well, that's because the economy was so horrible, so they did it out of pity. They just wanted to break the glass ceiling. Well, they've reelected another African-American president. And Barack Obama won Iowa today, a heavily Caucasian state. You know, I just hope that the yuppies and the poverty pimps can stop with this race baiting. Racism does exist, but in my estimation, it's greatly over-exaggerated, and I think that's proof that President Barack Obama won today.
You know, another troubling issue, and I'd like to get y'all's response on the other side. This came out before the election, I guess supposing what if Obama didn't win re-election? The November surprise where the EPA is planning major post-election anti-coal regulation. So sitting in the wings, we've got the EPA already kind of pushed back on regulating the environment, their carbon taxes, all the things they tried to get through the previous House and Senate sessions and failed. They appear to be making new big moves on. So that's just one of the areas we need to look at in Obama's next term, and all his statements about taking guns, not to mention the continued economic collapse, everything else that remains important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, President Barack Obama in an interview recently said that our debt is not an imminent threat. It's not an imminent threat. So, you know, that shows how out of touch he is. But, yeah, I mean, in 4 years, it's going to be very interesting to see where we're going to be. And the Democratic base's argument is it takes 8 years to rectify what Bush did, to resolve what Bush did. So they're really not going to have any excuses after this second term.
It's a
you know, Aaron, just like you were talking about on the coal plants, and Melissa, you're welcome to chime in on this as well. Obama is very adamant about shutting down these coal-powered plants. He's already said publicly he wants to bankrupt these people, wants to bankrupt the industry, get these plants out of the U.S., and I think that's definitely going to continue in his next 4 years.
You know, it's a really complicated issue because I would like to see alternative energy come into play. I'm not a huge fan of fossil fuels. At the same time, there have been clean coal plants, but love it or hate it, it's providing 50% or more of our national power. We've got huge reserves in coal that we can tap, natural gas, and yet we're fighting these foreign wars supposedly for oil and for natural resources as well as geopolitical reasons. Why can't we find some way to provide our energy at home and not implement it in a way that starves people? This is an austerity measure to shut down coal plants. It's a way of saying you're going to pay more for less. It happened with Enron and the other companies.
Exactly. I mean, you made an excellent point. I mean, they have tried alternative forms of energy. I'm not sure what happened to these big wind farms. Who was that? Boone Pickens, who was this big wind farm thing going on. I'm not sure what happened to that. And these alternative things that they had going on. But just like you said, love it or hate it, that's what we have right now. And we do have clean coal power plants. And, you know, as Alex always points out, this stuff isn't as dangerous as everybody thinks it is. A lot of this stuff is just condensation that makes it up in, you know, to the sky.
And I'd like to just point out, too, really quick, that when Obama put up his re-election campaign website, he put on an infographic that had all the different kinds of energy resources that we get in this country, and he didn't even put coal on it. It wasn't even on there. And they had a whole investigation panel where they asked, why is coal not on here? And the lady couldn't even answer that question. And then it was like a week later, they finally added clean coal. But he didn't even put it on there. He had no plans to even discuss it. So even though we do get about 50% of our power in this country from coal still, he wasn't even going to put it on the graphic.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And if you're just tuning in, this isn't a Romney love fest. We're not advocating Mitt Romney
all the same stuff
or anything like that. So if you're just tuning in, this is not what it is. We're not pro-Obama. We're not pro-Romney. You know, I myself, I'm not even necessarily concerned. I mean, convinced by any of the third-party candidates. Myself being an Oklahoma resident, I just recently moved to Texas and still hold Oklahoma residency, so I couldn't write in my vote because I didn't want to vote for either Obama or Romney, so I didn't vote for the presidential cycle.
I voted Jakari, but I skipped that presidential slot. I just voted for local people that I thought were important.
Yes, that's a good point. You can still vote for your local, local issues and local concerns. I just chose not to vote for, the presidency because I didn't have a chance to write in the candidate, which I would have voted for Gary Johnson had I had the chance, but I was not going to vote for Mitt Romney or Barack Obama.
Gary.
And now I would like to hear David's reason, because talking around the office, and not to single him out, but he's one of the few guys who actually thought Romney was going to win. Not saying that he thought Romney was better or superior. He just thought.
David is a staunch Gary Johnson supporter.
Yes, he is a staunch
He had
Gary
a big interview with
supporter.
Gary Johnson, too.
Yeah, he did a couple of big interviews with Gary Johnson. So I was just curious, David, why did you think Mitt Romney was going to win?
Just on the ground floor, I thought the Republican base was really fired up to take this guy out, President Barack Obama. Everyone I spoke to, even liberals, didn't look very confident. And so just everyone who I spoke to, and you heard the fire-breathing neocons on the air, it really looked like the Republicans were going to win. Also, the economy was bad, so the Democrats didn't have much legs to stand on. So I'm shocked, but I'm in the minority, I guess, because everyone around me was saying Obama's going to win. But I really thought Mitt Romney would win.
I just want to say, though, I think the system really favors two-term presidents because of the tyranny you can get, because it goes on autopilot. Once you're reelected, people have already kind of identified and formed their opinion on that particular president, and things just move forward. I mean, look, Reagan had 2 terms. Bush failed to get reelected because of his no taxes pledge, but Clinton had 2 terms. George W. Bush had 2 terms, and now Obama will have 2 terms. It's a real way where they could push things forward in a stealth mode. Very few people are going to pay attention. Certainly there will be outcries over something as big as banning guns or granting blanket amnesty, but at the same time, there's not a mechanism to stop it. The Democrats are going to have the Senate. The Republicans are going to control the House, last I saw on the issue, but there's no vote to look forward to. You don't have to worry about what the population really thinks about it because you've already got those mechanisms of power.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the president definitely becomes a celebrity after 4 years. I mean, and the power of the bully pulpit really helps him out. But usually the people who served as 1 term are people who have done, you hear that phrase, it's the economy stupid, the name of the book. Well, I mean, I guess it's not about the economy because Barack Obama is our president once again. Jimmy Carter served 1 term. Presidents that really do poor with the economy don't get a 2nd term, but Barack Obama seems to be the first in modern day history.
Exactly. And actually, on our side, we have a few articles on Proposition 37. If you guys can pull that up, I'd like to take a look at that and let our viewers know what's going on out there in California with the labeling of GMOs. Okay. Well, while we're pulling up those articles, Aaron, what was your thought on Proposition 37?
I've just been disgusted because it seemed like a no-brainer issue. We really need to get labeling in this country. People have a right to know what's in their food, and right now we have cloaked, hidden, stealth GMOs in almost all the processed foods we have in this country. Corn, soy, canola, cottonseed oil are all at or around 90% or more of all the products on the U.S. market. They're very dominant on the world market as well, and they're mixed into all the pancake mixes or the... Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about pancakes in particular, but all these different products have the corn and soy in particular derivatives in there, and they're almost all GMO. We really need to know, but we saw the media fueled by Monsanto, DuPont, Pepsi-Cola, spending $50 million, buying up all these papers, writing these hit pieces, saying how ridiculous it was just to label it. And just today I came across the article where they had set up fake front groups where they had a fake pro-cop group saying vote no on 37. This is in California, mind you, a pro-Democrat group, a very heavy Democrat state, sending out a fake mailer saying vote no on Prop 37. A lot of dirty tricks.
Do we know what the margin was on that? Like, how bad did it lose?
It was like 58-42 last I saw.
Ooh, wow.
Yes.
And at one point, it was more than 60% in favor of labeling in California.
Exactly. Now, Melissa, you did an article about the labeling of GMOs, talking about how these big companies just want to save you money. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, because they spent, you know, millions upon millions of dollars, and then they put up a no on Prop 37 website where basically they told everybody the reason they're doing this is because labeling is going to cost the average Californian family $400 more in groceries a year.
Right.
So they're spending millions of dollars. It makes total sense, right, that they would spend millions of dollars to save the average family $400 a year.
And what exactly?
How much money are they going to save people in medical bills after they eat GMO and get cancer?
Exactly. And what exactly was their rationale that it's going to cost you more money? Where did that come from?
They paid a firm to do a report, which is basically one of those firms that you buy off that will write whatever report you want. It didn't really have any basis. I glanced through the report. I didn't see anything in there that could really prove anything either way, but it's the same firm that was hired by soda companies earlier to fight recycling initiatives. So they basically hire the same firm, and they'll write whatever report you want. So they just wrote a report that said it would cost more.
Yeah, and you got to
like
think
I could go
about,
write a report right now that says whatever I want. It's kind of like that. So.
I mean, think about over the years how the rules have changed about the ingredients you have to list, the nutritional content. I don't remember what year, but there was a point in our lifetimes where you had to suddenly list all the percentages and list all the different ingredients, but you somehow don't have to label GMO. Whenever they discover
change packaging all the time.
Yeah, whenever they decide it's good for your heart or good for omega-3 oils or something, they change the packaging immediately.
Yeah, it's quite baffling why Prop 37 didn't pass also. I mean, that was doing relatively well in the polls. I don't know what it is when people get behind that, you know, in that
a simple matter of $50 million.
Yeah, I know, but it was doing pretty good in the polls up until 2 weeks ago.
I want to say, though, Dr. Joseph Mercola, we've had him on the program. He was the lead donator trying to get Prop 37 passed. He raised over $1 million. He's a hero. He tried to save this country. So are people like Mike Adams, people like Jeffrey M. Smith, Alex for the spotlight he's put on the issue. We're going to have to win this issue because it's going to affect everyone if we keep eating these foods that cause organ damage, gut inflammation, new allergies, sterility, and this passed down infertility. This could affect everyone in the world if we allow ourselves to keep eating GMOs. Again, with 4 staple crops right now, but they're moving towards hundreds of GMO products being approved through these fast-track processes. And the whole idea that they're being tested for safety is a complete illusion. The FDA just rubber stamps it and lets these biotech firms do their own test, and they're all skewed. I've read the books. It's a very boring read, but these studies show how skewed these results are.
Exactly. Now, Melissa and Aaron, you guys both did a report about GMO foods. For our new viewers who may not be too up on Proposition 37 and what GMO foods are, can you do like a brief analysis of what they are?
On what are GMO foods?
Yes.
Well, genetically modified foods are created in a laboratory. They isolate genes through bacteria for new traits they want. Pesticide is the most popular one. They have some other traits as well. Plants that are either resistant to pesticides or that produce their own pesticides in every cell of the organism, and you eat it, and they inject it randomly into the existing plant structures, and it causes all kinds of random damage, predictable damage, all while you're consuming more and more of these pesticides, and it's affecting the livestock who are fed it, it's affecting the humans who eat it. Everything in the food chain is affected by this.
Exactly.
I don't know if Melissa wants to expand on that.
Actually, that was a really good explanation. What I was about to bring up, well, first I just want to say, honestly, I mean, the last 0.0002% of faith I had in this crumbling, corrupt, broken system was totally dashed tonight on the fact that Proposition 37 did not pass. Actually, it went around back to having faith in the system, then back around to having zero again. That's how much I have no faith in this now. I cannot believe this didn't pass. I'm completely outraged. And about a week before Proposition 37 came to the vote, actually, I did an article about this. The American Academy of Pediatrics put out a statement saying that organic food is not better for your kids. Right. And they said that because there are no conclusive scientific studies to show that eating less pesticide is healthy for you, they can't prove that, so they can't say that. So if we don't have a scientific study to tell us eating less pesticide is bad for us, then we don't know it.
Yeah, I remember that report. I actually referenced it. I don't think that's the one, guys, but that is a good report. GMO companies just want to save you money. That's where Melissa chronicles, where they say they don't want GMO labeling because it will cost you money.
So that's why Monsanto spent $8.1 million to defeat this proposition, which was almost exactly as much as the entire yes to Prop 37 was able to get together.
Exactly.
Because they want to save you money. That's why. Look, they love you. That's why.
This is Emperor Obama's big night, so I don't want to focus on something else other than Obama and his glory, but I do want to point out
That's true. I do love Obama.
Yeah, exactly. There's another front in this battle, and it remains the consumer choice. They've already seen that people avoid GMOs when they know they're in the foods, that people choose organics when they can afford it and get access to it. That's why there's this whole new fight with the natural foods, which are marketed and placed next to organic foods. And I've seen not just stores like Whole Foods, but regular stores, H-E-B, Kroger, you name it, starting to market towards these healthy foods, saying now truth, honest foods. They know people crave that, but there's still another level of deception that we've got to educate people on and start to drive consumer forces to reject natural brands unless they certify they don't contain GMOs, and to accept and promote more organic foods.
Well, are there any other states on the horizon that have talked about having a similar referendum as California did today?
That's a great question. I don't have that answer for you.
Massachusetts tried. Massachusetts, I believe it was it Massachusetts that tried, but then they got threatened with a lawsuit by Monsanto.
Was that Vermont, maybe?
Or Vermont. That was right. It was Vermont. It was Vermont.
It's a late night, so who knows?
So, yeah, it's been a long day. Vermont.
Speaking of Emperor Obama, just on a very conversational level, where do you think he's going to bring the country? Where do you think the country will be in 4 years as a result of his administration?
Police state.
War.
Police
state. So we have war, police state. What do you guys think over there?
I think we're going to turn this thing around. I think we're all going to have nice, fat wallets and return to good times.
Eat some GMO, drink some fluoride.
Do you think we're going to see a war with Iran or like a major war?
That is a heavy question.
I don't know about a major war. I think he's definitely going to crack down here at home. Like I said, we have things such as the Patriot Act, the NDAA.
30,000 drones.
Yeah, domestic drones, wiretapping. He admits openly that he's coming for your guns. I don't know why Obama supporters keep saying he's not coming for your guns. He said openly in the debate he's coming for your guns. I don't know what else. I mean, somebody's saying, yeah, I'm going to rob this bank.
You know, I got to say, Obama and Hillary are kind of masters, and the other guys that work in their administration, masters of disguising war as these smaller proxy conflicts, as these regional things, Libya, Syria, you name it. Yeah, humanitarian actions, kinetic actions, whereas Bush really had to take heat for the Iraq war, not so much for the Afghanistan war, but they were known as wars, as illegitimate wars, and you name it. But even going back to the Clinton administration, those guys, very similarly to the Obama administration, were great at disguising it, as humanitarian, as a small-scale proxy thing, like, well, we're going to intervene and change a few factors, but let's not get into calling it a war. It's not something the U.S. is engaged in. So they get a lot more done with smaller chess pieces. Now, whether or not they're going to bite off Iran, we don't know. There's been serious war games run by Israel, one that the scenario takes place a few days after today, the election, and whether or not something like that could happen, we don't know. It'd be horrendous.
And that's an issue that has to be addressed immediately. I mean, that's no longer an issue that we can tippy-toe around. Either we got to let it go, or, the neocons are going to, pressure Obama to do something. And he has stated he hasn't taken military strikes off the table. That is an issue that will absolutely be addressed thoroughly in his next administration.
Exactly.
I actually had somebody argue with me tonight that the President of the United States does not need Congress to declare war.
Well, he's been saying that for a while now.
I mean, so his supporters feel that way. So he's got them believing it.
And it's just one of those things. I mean, when I try to explain this to people, it doesn't matter if you're for Obama or Romney, or if you're for Bush or Kerry or whoever else. I mean, once you give these powers to a president, Barack Obama is not going to be president forever, at least we hope. Unless they change something in the next 4 years. But I mean, once you give these powers to a person, it's going to go on to the next person after them and the next person after them. So even if you do support blindly Barack Obama or the Democratic Party or Romney or in the Republican Party, that person is not always going to be in power, and all the presidents from then on have these powers. You know, so this is things I try to stress to people when they say, oh, it's okay if Obama, it's okay if Obama did it. If Obama says he doesn't need Congress, or if Obama wants to send drones, or if Obama has a secret kill list,
if
it's
Obama
okay.
uses the Constitution as toilet paper, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what you know. Yeah, people always protect their party. Exactly. Whenever there's a violation, I was speaking to people today about NDAA, the Patriot Act, and I said, you know, Mitt Romney supports these things. What do you think about it? Oh, that's horrible. That's terrible. That's one reason why I didn't vote for him. And I would say, well, so does Obama. And then they hummed and hawed, and they said, well, you know, he's the lesser of two. You know, people just, they really cover.
How did they like voting for evil?
Yeah, exactly.
I asked people that. So they kept saying, it's the lesser of two evils, you know. I got to vote for this because Romney's the lesser of two evils, I got told. And it's like, how do you like voting for evil? Because that's what you're doing.
It's the evil of two lessers, to quote Dead Prez.
One thing that I...
Hey,
about right.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I definitely see, one direction I definitely see this country going, and absolutely I see it happening, is the nanny state with food. That's a big liberal, you know, tenet. You know, you see it with Michael Bloomberg. You see it with Michelle Obama, telling people what they can digest. And now with the health care plan, that's one thing I'm very concerned about. The nanny state with food is really going to grow over the next 4 years.
You know that
exactly, and I recently did a report on that. Not to cut you off there, Aaron. And actually, we played an excerpt of it earlier tonight when you interviewed the gentleman David at the Democratic Party, where we showed the footage of a school, well, not a school, several schools in Chicago, where students actually had to shift through rodent droppings to eat their school lunches. And we're not going to cut to it now for the sake of time, but you are definitely correct in that the nanny state is going to tighten up on what you're going to eat. And what were you about to say, Aaron?
Yeah, I kind of had a mouthful. I mean, it's maybe beyond the scope, but you're right. There's a very big problem with food, which I think we probably take it for granted in our life. But when socialist dictators in particular, or any centralized system, takes over food, there's always shortages when they try to control the supply and dictate who's going to produce it. There's been starvations not only from Stalin and Mao and other key dictators in the 20th century, but throughout history. I was reading up on the French Illuminati, and when Robespierre took over, he declared 2/3 of the population of France to be enemies who were to be exterminated. He wanted to kill 14 to 15 million French people after and because he took control of the food supply, told people who could grow, who could sell, and they found in most cases when the free market produces food, there's an abundance. You get export money on food. But when you take over with state controls, anyway, it's a big issue, but you're right. And we've been subsidizing corn and other food production, paying farmers not to grow in this country, all to produce what? Junk food that's now GMO, that's put into Doritos bags and stuff. This is not food. And it's definitely beyond the scope of Obama or Romney, but I think it is a big issue.
It definitely is, and actually we're coming to the end of our segment here. So I'd like to pose one last question to the roundtable. Third-party candidates. I know, David, you're an avid third-party guy. So what were your thoughts? I believe it was 2% split between all the third-party candidates. How'd you feel about that?
I felt so horrible. I felt so horrible, but you know what? I actually, I still have faith, and sadly, I think the advancement is going to be made within the Republican Party. I think that a Ron Paul-like libertarian will run as a Republican in 4 years. So I think third-party candidates, sadly, don't have a future in this country. But I do think the libertarian movement within the Republican Party does have a future in this country.
I could jump in and read something Chris Matthews said when he called third-party voters idiots. He said, if you don't vote, you're an idiot. And if you're one of those who voted for a numbskull third or fourth party candidate like Gary Johnson or Jill Stein and say, oh, a surprise at what happened, no, you shouldn't be, because idiots like you voted for third and fourth party candidates and they don't know how the system works. You have two choices. I mean, that's a game system. That's a dictatorship.
Aren't they supposed to be the party of choice? Is it
Coke or Pepsi?
Yeah. I mean, I thought they were supposed to be the party of choice. Aren't they supposed to be liberals also? That means freedom. So they're not liberal. They
don't want you to have a choice.
No, there's no freedom in America.
You don't get to have a choice in America. You just get to be stuck in a two-party system in this left-right paradigm, and that's all you get. You get two choices.
And there's another horrible comment that he said later on in that article. Do you have that there?
I think there's a stub, but
I think everything he says is a horrible comment.
Very well said.
Hey, while he's looking that up, I just want to point out this was not a close election. Obama took it easily, so the focus was taken away from potential voter fraud, and yet this was a very messy election. A lot of abnormalities went on, a lot of new provisional ballot measures, a lot of new policies going on, and probably a lot of election fraud with these electronic voting machines. And they were putting a focus on Ohio, saying that could a very close vote and that could be fraud. Well, the Secretary of State in question, their website did go down. There was contested results over that vote, and there's been lawsuits filed. And while there may not be a lot of focus on that because Obama clearly did win re-election in terms of Obama versus Romney, we probably do have some big issues. They may recount Florida, New Jersey, and New York. At least parts of them are still outstanding because of the storms.
Exactly.
Well,
David, did you find that quote you were looking for?
No, I didn't. If someone could, well, it was another quote that Chris Matthews had stated. It was pretty infuriating.
Well, we'll have to catch up on that tomorrow. That's it for our show tonight. We are out of time. Definitely want to thank everybody: Aaron Dykes, Melissa Melton, David Ortiz, David Knight, Alex Jones himself, all the great guests that popped in.
Webster Tarpley.
We definitely appreciate your time. Webster Griffin Tarpley. They're talking in my ear a little bit. Check out our site tomorrow, prisonplanet.tv. We'll have free streams. And also check out our election fallout coverage tomorrow night from 7 to 9. Alex Jones will be back on the radio 11 a.m. It's been a long night here at Infowars. Lord willing, if he wakes up in time, and we'll be back tomorrow. So definitely check us out. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, check us out at prisonplanet.tv. You can subscribe. It helps our operation. And also check out the Infowars shop. Many great products on there. You can check out the Obama deception and also Dreams from My Real Father, something that you're going to need over the next 4 years.
Yep.
So definitely get that for your loved ones. They are both on sale. You can get them both together for $20. So for the Infowars Nightly News, I'm Jakari Jackson, and we'll see you back tomorrow night.